My name's Tim Thurston from Team I, and I'm with
Jamie Martin of Correct Careers Coaching.
And this is the next in our series of broadcasts that we're doing for local businesses, giving key tips on how to make your business as successful as you possibly can. And today's topic is customer service. Jamie, what is good customer service to you?
Customer service actually states what it is in its name. It's about what your customers say about your business, your product, or your service. I'm going to open with a quote I'm aware of. This is from Trustpilot and G2, that 92% of the buy and purchase is actually based on reviews. So you need to be able to deliver great customer service so the customer is enjoying the experience you are providing them, for them to basically give you good reviews to attract other customers into use your service or product or business moving forward. So that is effectively what it is, but there are other elements of it if you want to go through them as well, Tim.
Absolutely. And I think the thing that is paramount is understanding what a customer wants and providing that solution to their needs or problem. That sounds like selling, doesn't it, Jamie?
I would say it's probably indirect marketing.
That's my point. There is a direct correlation between the sales process and good customer service. And I think that's lost, and people shy away from selling because they don't quite understand that actually, if you give excellent customer service, you will end up selling more to your customers. And I'll explain why I think that. So taking that forward, so the first thing then is to understand your customers' needs. And you do that, of course, by asking questions. I know you've read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And number one, he says, is seek first to understand. Seek first to understand and then be understood. A great mantra. If we, in all of our relationships and certainly all of our transactions, if we understand what the person we're dealing with wants, what their need is, what solution they're looking for, then we've got every chance of engaging with them and giving them the right solution. So understand by asking good questions, listening to the answers, and then satisfying their needs if you can. So when that comes to the solution process, then offer the right solution for them, not what you want them to have. If I went to a restaurant and I ordered a nice piece of fish and the server said, well, I think you should have the steak, sir. Well, that's not good customer service. And of course, when we move into sales environments, often a salesperson just pushes a product to someone. Good customer service is understanding what they want and offering the right solution to their need. Of course, that means sometimes you can't actually give them the solution they want. And what you should do then, and I really urge this point, what you should do then is suggest to them where they can get the right solution to their needs. And that's quite controversial in some places, isn't it, Jamie?
Yeah, it is quite controversial. So the way I would have looked at it from a sales background, it's like your horse in a race. You've got the blinkers on and you're looking at the end goal. But that makes you want to sell what you're pushing to the customer rather than what they actually need. So effectively, I don't think you're delivering good customer service, because if they don't feel that they walked away knowing that actually it was their decision, then it's going to impact on how they may feel and review about the service they've received from yourself. I think the other side to that to look at is that you can give a couple of options. So if you were going to go into, say, a coffee shop like Costa or Starbucks, and you look at a small, a medium or large latte, predominantly you may go for the medium latte, shall we say. So it's about giving an options to make the less choices for a decision-making process to the customer, so they're actually going to buy from you. And yet again, we talked about it is an indirect way or a sales approach.
Sure. Okay, so let's take this process a bit further on. So we understand what our customer needs. We've suggested solutions to them. If they've decided that the right solution is with us, then we need to deliver. We need to do what we say we will do. Now, things happen, events. Look what's happened in the world at the moment, and because of the COVID-19 impact, things have clearly changed. That doesn't mean to say that our customer service level has to falter. Things go wrong, And if it's handled in the right way, then that makes all the difference. And that's really managing expectations. So if you can't deliver what you said you're going to deliver, then communicate that very, very early in the process and come up with different alternative solutions that will still provide roughly the same result for your customer. And if you can't deliver it, then suggest someone who can. I'd like to give you a really good example of that. When I moved over to this part of the world 20 years ago, I ran a small newspaper and we were outsourcing our ad production. So that was the department that made the pages up, created the advertisements and laid the text in. And very, very early on, 2 or 3 weeks into my role, there was a real problem and a couple of pages went wrong. And I phoned up the managing director of that business and I said, look, I'm new to the role. This isn't really what I want. Within a matter of hours, he was in my office explaining to me the situation, asking me what solution I wanted for it to be put right. And he's become a lifelong friend just by putting me first as a customer, ensuring that I was satisfied with his service. And needless to say, for the next 5 or 6 years that I was involved with that business and he served us, his customer service was 100%. Do you agree with that, Jamie?
Yeah, it is a good example. If you are not providing what is needed to the customer and managing their expectations in a timely fashion, then there's interest is going to be lost and they're not going to feel engaged, as you kind of mentioned. And when I teach sales training, the follow-up process, if we're talking about customer service, it is an area to be worked on. I would say it depends on the product or service you are providing. Something's different if you're going into a retail shop because you get the product there and then. But if you are basically not going back to someone within 24, 48 hours as a follow-up, as you said you were going to do, then the customer at the other end is going to lose engagement, in trust, various other emotional connections with yourself, and you haven't managed your expectation and build a relationship with them.
Yeah, absolutely. One final point I'd just like to make, which is slightly counterintuitive in a way, and that is that once the initial sale has been made, that's when customer service really, really starts. And the more you add to that, then the more sales you'll make. I'll give you an example. So if I'm in a restaurant, if Jamie, you and I went to lunch, you'd probably pay, I hope. We having a nice glass of wine with our meal, and I'd finish my glass of wine. If the server comes up to me and says, "Oh, sir, could I get you another drink?" Probably, unless I've got to drive, 7 or 8 times out of 10, I'm going to say, "Oh, yeah, great, thanks very much." Whereas if they ignored me and I was there with an empty glass, A, they're not selling me another drink, and B, my perception of their customer service is less. The fact that they're coming up and offering me another drink, they're actually selling me another drink, I'm pleased. They're taking more money from me, and guess what? At the end of the meal, they're more likely to get a bigger tip. Counterintuitive, as I said earlier, the more you spend in a restaurant, sometimes the better service you feel you've had, the bigger tip that you made.
Especially if you had a couple of wines during that time as well.
Absolutely. So I think that's a really important lesson for all businesses to understand, that once you've made that sale, that's the beginning of the journey, not the end of the journey. And your customer service starts after you've made that sale, and there will be opportunities for you to increase income from clients by giving exceptional customer service. Just like to round off with a few tips, just to give you some takeaways. So customer service is dependent on you understanding the needs of your customers. Suggest a solution, and if you can't provide that solution, recommend, if you can, where they can get their problem resolved or the solution that they need. Deliver. Do what you say you're going to do. Simple as that. And then keep repeating the process. Anything to add, Jamie?
Yeah. To round off, so the buying process is 90% emotive and 10% rational, intellectual thinking. So to make the initial sale is probably more challenging, but once you've done that, it's about the value and the customer service you provide to the customer for them to not only come back to you for repeat business, but also to refer you to individuals. And yeah, you're right, you can certainly upsell during an interaction like being in a restaurant, but businesses can also look at other ways to provide their customers with great exceptional service. So this could be, you know, whether you provide them some vouchers or some coupons, or, you know, rewards for being a customer of theirs. So there's some other areas a business can actually look after their customers.